how excited you are for this next session. Talking of the next session, it's time to introduce our speaker. So, our speaker is a physiotherapist from Italy, and he is also the Vice President of Family Federation in South Europe. So, can everyone join me in welcoming Gukson Capone to speak?
Hello, good evening or good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for joining this workshop. I hope it's going great so far. Of course, you went through many things, also the principle of creation, the human fall, and now we're moving forward towards the next steps, which is going to be also the principle of restoration. I'm going to share my screen. Hello. Okay. So the principle of restoration. What does it mean also to restore something? Like the word, when, for example, you have a new vase bought from a shop and then suddenly falls down, and then you need to pick up the little pieces and to fix it with the glue so that is still the same vase, has the same value, but the process of coming back to what was before is called restoration. And this principle is also applied also to artists. For example, when you have a sculpture, you have some specific people who do this kind of work with marble. They cleanse it and they use it special painting to protect the oil painting or the sculpture, for example. No? So we're talking about restoration, which are coming back from what was God's original purpose, actually. So for the next slide, you can see the overall picture. Let's focus on the right side, and this is the purpose of history, why God created. You can see here on the right side, He created a man and a woman, which we call Adam and Eve, respectively, and then He dreamed about this perfect realm of heart, where Adam can grow individually through this mind-body unity and then come closer to God. While at the same time, also Eve is growing towards perfection, developing different kind of style of love, and then finally, together they receive the blessing from God, and then they multiply. They have a family centered on God. They form eventually a society centered on goodness, on God, and a nation centered on God, and then an ideal world expanding all corners of the earth, and then kingdom of heaven on earth. How beautiful this dream can be. God is the perfect painter and the best artist, best scientist. He already thought about even the small things, about the nature, which you studied in the principle of creation, from the small insect. Everything has a purpose in life and in history as well. But we know also that because of the fall, Adam and Eve also, of course, they had their portion of a responsibility to fulfill. And since this was not accomplished, and then we have this personage here, Satan, which was in the position of serving Adam and Eve. And because he didn't accept Adam's guidance. He thought of himself. He wanted to be in the position of receiving more love. So that's why also he made Eve fall, and then we have also the second fall through Adam and Eve before the time was ripe. And then in this way, Satan's become the Lord. He's the King of Kings. So that's why also Adam and Eve became also embedded with his lineage. And what is gonna create here? A child, a family, then a family centered on Satan, on evil instead, and then multiplying we have also society, tribe, and then nation together, a fallen world, a hell on earth, which was not God's original dream, actually. So we can see also in the world right now, we can see many conflicts, many misunderstanding, bombing, and many abusing, child abuse, female abuse. So we can see many different kind of sort of things that there was not God's intention originally. So we drift away from God's path, actually. So this is the ideal path. It was going to be followed. So that's why restoration. Restoration means also to come back in the original position. But in order to do that, also to salvation, we need a Messiah, another Adam, which is called second Adam. And then he's gonna bring also new lineage. He's gonna defeat evil, Satan. Is gonna show a model of a family, how to build a family, and then multiply this seed and really build the kingdom of heaven on earth, little by little, how God intended at the beginning. So, for example, we know every human being has this character, which has inside, he has a good mind, which is connected with God, means doing or living for the sake of others, serving others. Of course, everybody is good inside their heart and their mind. But also at the same time, we have also this tendency of evil mind, which is attracted by Satan. So that's why when we do wrong things or evil deeds, also we come close to Satan. And that's why we need to make a conscious effort to decide which way we should take, the God side or the Satan side. Is always also how to train our mind, and then our action, our focusing are the result of the mind's thought. So for example, we can find here in John 1:8, if we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us. So also the old fathers, they knew that everybody, even though they prayed, they fasted and they made a condition, still the sin was inside of them, because this link and this lineage linked to Satan's. So that's why that we need to have a savior in our life of faith. You are the slave to one whom you obey, whether you are a slave to sin, which leads to death, or to obedience, which leads to righteousness. So actually here is presenting also some sort of path. So we are free to choose, and then the choice that we make lead us in the good way or in the bad way. So for example, another sentence you can find in Matthew: no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and the mammon. So also human being is in the position of the middle position. He can choose which way to serve. Luckily, for example, some people don't know. They have this choice to make and just follow the crowd. But actually also we need to feel this connection with God, so that little by little we can develop this relationship, and little by little going towards the side of goodness. So also in this case, because for example, Satan cannot claim human being entirely, because human beings are created by God. They are beings created by the love of God. So Satan cannot take 100% of it. And also God, at the same time, he cannot claim 100% of human beings' mind and heart, because as we are fallen people, we also, our lineage belong to Satan as well. So that's why human beings are in the middle position. So if he does good action, little by little, is a condition to separate from Satan. In history, we can see also there are many conditions. God also gives the central figure in history some condition to fulfill. So if they fulfill it, they're working towards the path of goodness as well, and the same as in the other. So also, for example, in this case, we have this human responsibility. And then this is very important because we have freedom, freedom to choose. We are not like a robot, for example, which need to follow the algorithm or instruction by the creator. So we are free in our choice, but of course we also take responsibility for the choice that we make in our life. So we can say that God's responsibility is absolute. So this dream that I show you at the beginning, when you can see the unity of husband and wife, Adam and Eve, completely united and build an ideal family, this is completely God's dream. God's dream also to build a new society, a new nation, a new world, really. One day is going to happen, no matter what, because this is God's desire, God's dream. It has to be fulfilled 100%. But we can choose human responsibility is when we want to achieve that. So if we fulfill our responsibility, then also God's will is fulfilled. Then we are helping God in achieving his big dream. At the same time, if we fail to expect to live to that expectation, also we're going in the wrong direction. And sadly, as you can see, many more people in the history, they made more mistakes than wins, but still, God reached out to them. And really, we can see many central figures in history also that were inspired and guided by God's will. So the matter is how they answered to this call. Okay, so moving on also. So we are born as fallen person because of the fall, and then this condition is necessary, is a payment that we do in order to restore our original status. So that's why from fallen people we want to restore ourselves and become original-minded people really, that we understand and feel what God feels. Still the same, because we are all His children. And then this is the matter, it's a crucial point also, how to remove this sin that which is dominated by the archangel, by Satan. And now we're going more deeply. So restoration means also is a condition to restore our lost position or status through taking responsibility. So meaning also coming back to the original course. How do we do that? For example, let's say that you have a friend, and then in an argument, maybe you hurt your friend's feeling, but you realize that your friend was not happy about what you said. You understood it, and then realize it, and then you ask for repentance. Say, I'm sorry, I said this word, I didn't understand. I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. Will you accept my apology? And then if he say yes, you are pardoned. And then the relationship is starting again as before, or maybe even stronger than before, because somehow we made a mistake, say fallen person, but still we made a condition of repentance, in this case of humble ourselves, and then the position was restored, and then the relationship can go on. And this kind of a reverse course we can see also throughout the history. You can see many examples here. But yeah. And then the indemnity condition to be paid, for example, can be in equal value of the value lost. For example, there was an old saying in the Old Testament age: eye for eye, tooth for tooth, life for life. So this was how was the rule in the past. So if you made a mistake, you had to pay in the same value. For example, the lesser value, let's say lesser value is when we offer our condition is less compared to the benefit. For example, in the Christian realm, they had to repent and trust and have faith in Jesus Christ. And just in that way, they could receive the benefit of salvation in the New Testament age. If they made a mistake, they had to repent, but also they have this confession with the priest, and then all their, let's say, sin that they committed is resolved with them. So this is we do something small to receive something greater. This is the lesser condition. And then the greater condition, then we offer more condition than the value itself. For example, as we can see, the story of Abraham, and God gave to Abraham a special task to cut in half a heifer and a goat and a dove. So he cut the first two, but he forgot to cut the dove. So that also the Satan's prey, they took over, and then this offering was lost. And then for this mistake, the Hebrew and the Jewish people had to suffer 400 years under the Egyptian empire. And God gave Abraham a second chance, which was a greater indemnity, and to offer his only son, is a son with Sarah, and then Isaac, who was his only son, and he had to sacrifice him. So he had to give his descendants back to God. So this was an example of a greater offering of indemnity. Yeah, moving on. So how do we complete this portion also of responsibility? For example, the first point, of course, through the lineage of Adam and Eve, there has to be also repentance, change of heart in the direction, and understand their wrongdoings first. And then also we need to have foundation of faith, foundation of substance, and to complete this task as well, also to grow in our faith in going towards God, the beginning and build an ideal world. So this all the indemnity condition that we need to fulfill because of the fall. We can see here that also Adam and Eve had fallen from the growth stage. This is formation, growth, and completion. They didn't reach perfection yet. They fell from the growing stage and then went under the level of nature. So also human being, they had this position of lower of lowest, and then they had to rebuild their trust and their heart, going the direction of God. And the Messiah is also necessary. It's also is a couple, is a new Adam, a new Eve as well, who realize the three great blessings: individual perfection, develop perfect unity within the family, they also having dominion of the world as well. Also, the Messiah has the task to overcome Satan, the evil, and to give guidance, spreading God's truth, God's word, and put into practice. The Messiah has the responsibility to begin a new history as God intended, finally. And as a true parents, also, there is a responsibility to free us from original sin. So all of the Messiah has this antidote, let's say, antidote to heal us from this original sin that we have from the fall of Adam and Eve, which are our ancestors as well. So that's why history of restoration, all these years, God worked through many people to really bring about the new Adam, the Messiah here on earth. For this purpose, to give new life, so the old wild olive tree could be reborn as a new olive tree as well, nested in the lineage of the Messiah. On the day you will realize that I am in the Father, my Father, and you are in me, I am with you. So this perfect unity, for example, that Jesus had with God, still also we can reach as well. Also this kind of unity with our Father, with our Heavenly Mother, with God. So how to reach this state? How to prepare for the coming of the Messiah? So firstly, we need to establish a foundation of faith and a foundation of substance. We can see these two big blocks here. So, okay. Okay, so foundation of faith. So we need a central person who offers this condition. For example, Adam. Adam is the central person, the first human being. The offering, what was the offering that Adam had to fulfill, is to obey to God's word, which were to not to eat from the fruit from the tree of the garden, the good and evil, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He could eat all fruits in the garden, but not touch the tree. And we understood what that tree and the fruit meant. Of course, not to have a sexual relationship before the time was ripe. The time period, 21 years. So you can see a pattern here. Every condition, foundation of substance, condition of faith. You can see we have a central person who offers the condition. And then you have the subject, an offering that has been made in a time period. You can see this pattern over all different generations as well. So for example, also for a fallen person to be restored, the first thing is also to unite mind and body with God, and then to restore in our faith through prayer, and really to start to build up this relationship that was lost in the past, little by little. So this is a process that also our forefather had to take in the past. Okay. Anyone who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. Love each other as I have loved you. Love your enemy. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. So this is the foundation, the meaning of foundation of substance, which are the unity with the central figure. The unity, we call them Cain and Abel position, but it's unity with the Abel figure mainly. So also here a few example also loving each other as I have loved you. So in this foundation of substance, the subject need to completely unite it with the other part. So for example, Abel need to unite with Cain, and Cain need to unite with Abel, so that this unity is offered to God. And then we also talk about this history as well. Okay. So this also is a foundational substance, also is a condition also to remove our fallen nature. For example, also what had the archangel had to do basically. He had to obey to Adam's guidance and accept Adam as a direct son of God. So and serve him and his children's because the archangel was in the position of teacher, of taking care, and he also helped God throughout the creation. So he was very important position and received a lot of love from God. But he could receive more if he had to complete his task, actually, also to raise well Adam and Eve, to make them marry, to make them have a family, and he would become really an astonishing position to receive love from God, from Adam, from Eve, and from their children. So but he had this arrogance within himself that wanted to move forward and take Adam's position instead. So also this condition of substance helps you to remove the fallen nature, because you need to practice humility and unity with the central figure, which is in this case was Adam, for example. Okay. Yes, you can summarize in one sentence, for example, foundation of faith is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. So it means this connection as the meaning faith, this connection perfect with God and His will as well. Foundation of substance, we say a more horizontal. Love your neighbor as yourself, as we can see in Matthew. So we need both this condition, foundation of faith, which are more vertical, foundation of substance, which are more horizontal. Both of them are necessary condition to receive the Messiah on different levels. So we can see also in Adam's family how the history of restoration went through. Just drink a little bit. So, as we said also before, also human being have this double position of serving God, of serving Satan. Of course, one person cannot serve two masters. So also Adam's position had to be divided. He had two sons, Cain and Abel. So Cain represent the evil side, but also the first relationship that Eve had with Satan, first spiritual relationship, and then which was totally outside the principle. And then let's say Abel is on the good side. He also represents the second relationship that Eve had with Adam. So we can see also this relationship. So Cain was the first son, and then Abel was the second son. It doesn't mean that the Cain was evil and Abel was good. It's the position that they had since their birth. So also this condition that had to be restored. Also this foundation of substance and unity with Adam and the archangel is coming again. You can see a pattern repeating. Is the same with Cain and Abel. You know the history, right? That also God gave to Cain and Abel a task. They had to offer an altar because at that time this was a way to purify themselves, to offer the best that they have. So Abel offering was accepted. It was the side of goodness, but Cain didn't, was not accepted, and so that's why he was angry at why God did not accept his offering, and then basically also the evil side was closer to Cain, and then also in this position also Cain killed Abel. We know that he murdered him, he murdered his brother, and then So in this way, this unity could not be achieved in Adam's family for the first time in history as well. So imagine how God had to be patient, but also this painful situation or see the first sons of Adam and Eve killing each other, and especially for God who built everything, all this universe, all this beautiful nature for a human being to live, and then did not understood, and then this becomes a first murder in history. So the condition in this case was not fulfilled. Okay. Okay, we can see this pattern again with Cain and Abel, Archangel, Adam, the body, which is let's say can be tempted closer to Satan's side, and the mind is closer to God's side. Fallen man and Messiah, further from God, closer to God. You can see this pattern repeating itself. So this foundation of faith could not be achieved. As we said, also Abel's offering was accepted, and Cain didn't. So Cain was placed in the same position as the archangel. He had the same feeling. So what he had to do? What was his task to complete the foundation of substance? In this case, was through asking Abel and be humble. Go to Abel. Oh, Abel, I offered my best, but God did not accept my offering. Why? Can you help me? Can we offer together? And then Abel would answer, yes, of course, my brother, no problem. And then they build an altar together and they offer up everything to God. And then how beautiful this unity could have been as well. Also Abel on Abel's side as well. He had to be humble enough, and also to understand Cain's feeling that was hurt at the time, understand, and really come close in one heart, closer to God. In that way, Cain and Abel could fulfill the foundation of faith and the foundation of substance. If they had done that, then the Messiah could come directly from their lineage, from them directly from their sons and daughters. But this was not the case. So God had to wait again other 10 generations. Yes. So yes, this was a Cain's responsibility to love Abel, to receive love through Abel, serve and follow Abel, and learn God's way through Abel. So because he was in closer to Satan's side, he had to humble himself, understand Abel's guidance, who was closer to God, even though he was his his younger sibling. He had to respect him because he was closer to God, and then really offer everything together to restore the proper order of your love. Yes. Yes. So in this way, they also there was a unity of all things, the offering, unity of children, Cain and Abel, and this way also is the base for the Messiah to come. Finally, the parents could come after their lineage as well. So we know that this did not happen. Sadly, this is the history which Cain kills Abel. And then God had to restart everything again because of this failure. So this failure in Adam's family. So God, he had to wait many years to find another key person in history to continue the process of restoration as well. So in this way, God's heart was broken. So he again had to rebuild everything patiently and prepare some people, continue to inspire and find among all the people some who are really good, who could accept his guidance. So because of this mistake, also the restoration was prolonged as well, and then Abel lineage was lost. He had to start again, basically, and the condition was not fulfilled. Yes. Yes. So what we can learn as well from Adam's family, of course, the solution. There was a solution, but God could not tell them directly. It was kind of a task, when the parents also give some task to the child to see how much they can grow as well. So God could not intervene as well, because it was a Cain-enabled responsibility to understand and fulfill their duties as a filial sons. So in this way, also the providence was prolonged. Abel could not complete his responsibility, so God had to choose Seth, which was the third son of Adam and Eve, and to continue the lineage. So yeah, this is also the indemnity that we must work as well throughout history. And then fallen people, in this case, we need to seek Abel type person to honor and follow them. Always there is need to be this unity between Cain and Abel. We can see also, for example, in a company, let's say the boss or is the manager, is a position of Abel, and we need to respect him and follow his order as well, to continue with our tasks, to bring unity within our relationship, within the team. So also throughout the history, also this relationship had to be built as well. So yes, this was the history of Adam's family, and then also afterwards we will move on also to Noah's family. So maybe we can do a short break or reflection, or if you want to go to the toilet, and then we can start with the second part. So thank you for listening once again.
Thank you, Gukson. Yeah, thank you. There was a lot of content there in the first part of your lecture, looking at restoration, why we need to restore things, and how we can go about restoring our situation as humans. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And now, yeah, as Gukson said, we're going to take a small break for around 5-6 minutes. So yeah, it's an opportunity to refresh yourself, do whatever you need to do, and we'll meet back soon. And please take this opportunity to think about some questions that you would like to ask Gukson based on what he's been talking about, and you can send those questions in the chat to questions and comments, and we'll try to get those questions answered for you in the Q&A after the second lecture. So yeah, thank you everyone, and we'll see you soon. Okay, welcome back everyone. I hope you feel refreshed after that. I definitely needed to grab a drink of water. So yeah, hopefully you're ready and eager to hear more from Gukson, and please join me in welcoming him to present the second half of his lecture.
Thank you once again. I hope the break you had was refreshing, and then keep going to the next lecture as well. We're going moving on to the next chapter. Okay. So basically, also as we said before, God had to start again this foundation to find another family. So after a period of time, which was 1,600 years, after 10 generations from Seth, who was the third son of Adam and Eve, another special person was born, which God chose among many others, because he saw that Noah was a faithful person and understood his guidance. Also, Noah had three children: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Also, in this role, the first two sons, they play this role of Cain and Abel as well, we can see. So also the condition that God gave to Noah, firstly, was to build an arch on top of the mountain for 120 years. Maybe the years are not calculated as we do today, because I don't know how a person can live 120 years, but yeah, let's say let's say this is possible. Then for all this time, he even though he was quite old when it happened, still he had to every day going out, day and night, and basically all the people of the village were mocking at him, and also at his family as well. Why this old man is building an ark atop of the mountain? He's out of mind or what? While Noah kept faith and really continue his task, because this was God's word, and he fulfilled it. He built an ark for 120 years. So this conditions was fulfilled. So another, because God asked Noah to build this ark. Why? Because he had in mind to preparing a period of judgment, a period of 40 days of flood, 40 days of complete rain and thunderstorm, because actually also at that time was very easy to do evil things than good things, you know. So you can imagine the society, how developed after Cain killed Abel, basically, no? On this foundation also, because they didn't know God. So basically human beings were completely under Satan's control, let's say. Only few people were on God's side. So that's why he chose the family of Noah. And the ark, what does it symbolize? Basically, all the animals had to go inside in pairs. All kind of animals, tigers, snakes, and insects, all of this. You have to check one by one. It also is meaning, also the restoration of his family, three sons um, with their spouses, with their wives as well. So the restoration of all humankind, new mankind, and then Noah, who was in the position of God, this transition period from the fallen world to the ideal world. So what was also God feeling at the time? Okay. So the Lord saw that the craziness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had to make man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out men whom I have created from the face of the ground, men and beasts and creeping things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. This was God's feeling was like, wow, I created everything so beautifully, so naturally, the mountains and the rivers, everything is connected, unity, and all the animals living for each other. And then this man that I created, he is not is going far away from me. So killing each other, hating each other. So God feeling was very sad and deeply thoughtful. What have I done? I create these human beings that I never imagined they could behave like this. So this was God's desperate heart to see this situation. So he made this decision of restoring in a drastic way to with the 40-day of flood to kill all the people who were on the evil side, on Satan's side, and to start again with one family representing the side of goodness. And also through this passage, we can see also God's evolution, because we have this picture here of God's heart, but afterwards, if we read also in the Bible, when everything is finished and the flood is gone, we can see the God promised Himself that I'm not doing this anymore, even though my child go away from me, they hate each other, they don't recognize their identity, I will not do this destruction again. So we can see also this kind of evolution in God's heart, how to really handle things. For example, keeping from the parents' perspective, they never want to see the children fighting with each other. It's very painful for the parent to see this kind of scene, and then that's why that God want to restore things as fast as possible, and was at the beginning drastically, and then little by little he got more patience. We can see like this, no? His heart grew up also, we can say. This is also my feeling as well, reading these passages. So in this foundation of faith, Noah was the central person representing God. The offering was the ark representing the universe. The time period was 40 day of flood. So in this condition also, Noah's family had to purify themselves internally and externally and separate from Satan, because God wanted this family to build a new generation finally, when Satan cannot intervene finally. This 40 day we can see many times, and its meaning also the taking separation from Satan. We can see also with the Israelites, they had to stay 400 years in Egypt as slaves, 400 years, which is 10 times 40, and then 40 years in the wilderness. And then Moses had to fast for 40 days. Still, also Jesus had to fast for 40 days in his life as well. So when we see 40 days or a condition based on 40, is a condition of indemnity to restore from the attack of Satan. So it's a separation from the good side and the evil side. And then some archaeologists also found this ark on Mount Ararat, between Turkey and Syria, I think. Also some excavation were there, they found this ark, and then studied the ground, and actually was at the time also in comparison with Noah's time. They made this calculation as well. Yes. So this foundation faith was accomplished. because Noah could make the family working together and then staying for 40 days in the ark with the animal, taking care of them. And then when they arrived, and then the 40 days were gone, finally, they could see the land afterwards. And then Noah built up an altar to praise God. Finally, we can have this new lineage, this special covenant between God and human beings. And then in this case, that God promised human being to never do such a destruction as before. Is a promise. So, but also the foundation of substance need to be completed still between the two sons. Sam in the position of the archangel, who was the first son, and then Ham, who was the position of Abel. Let's see. So we know that the reading also through the Bible, we see that some years have passed for these events, and then Noah one day he go to the vineyard, and then he's preparing the crops, and then suddenly he falls asleep in a tent, naked, and then his son come first, and then he watches his father naked. So, oh my God! And then call his brother Sam and Japheth. Oh, look at our father. He went senile. He's sleeping naked. And then they cover him, not watching him, but backwards, because they were so ashamed of this fact. And then when Noah woke up, he said, "Oh, curse you, Ham, and then your descendants will be slaves on your brother's descendant." Why this? Because also when there is this new family, Noah's family, is like a kind of restoration taking place. So it was like Adam and Eve before the fall. So before the fall, Adam and Eve were naked and did not feel ashamed of themselves, right? So this new family as well, the condition is the same. And because Ham looking the nakedness of his father Noah, he felt ashamed. This same of this feeling of guilt and shame was connected with Satan's feeling, was not God's feeling, how God intended to be. So that's why this was a big mistakes in Ham life. And then this foundation of substance couldn't be fulfilled because also the other brother, they joined him. So he's multiplying evil basically. And in this way, also Satan could come again in this family and have roots in the heart of the mind of the people. So in this case is a lost opportunity as well to build up another family where God can dwell. So what are the results of failure in Noah's family? That God's heart is again broken because of this failure, and God could not work again with this family. So the process of history and the process of restoration is moving forward, is still prolonged again, because the condition were not set to come back to the previous position as well. So what can we learn as well from Noah's family? Still, God did not interfere with Ham's act, because of course was the human portion of responsibility Also, the ham was enable position. So this act was even more, let's say, dangerous inside of God. So also, yes, we have this human portion of responsibility, which God cannot intervene. And also because Ham had to respect his father, who built the ark for many, many years on top of the mountain, saved them through the flood period. And also they were the only family left alive in that area, in that period. So he had to respect Noah, his father. So also he needed humility, obedience, and patience to understand his father's will as well. Be aware of criticism from a self-centered perspective. So he judged his father from his self-centered perspective. He didn't understood God's perspective, how much Noah invested throughout all his life to save his family. So this was also a big mistake on God's eyes. So the history, you can see, it was prolonged, and God had to wait another 400 years on Sam genealogy, lineage, had to wait other 10 generations for another man to appear, which is called Abraham. So Abraham, so because Satan took Ham, which was in God's position, Abel's position, God had to take somebody from the Satan side, because Abraham was the first son of Terah, who was an idol maker. So he didn't believe in God, was making idols. So he took Abraham from Satan's side and basically also made this promise and explained his mission. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I'll make your name great so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those bless you, and him who curse you, I will curse. And by you, all the families on the earth should bless themselves. So this is the promise that God gave to Abraham, to have a great nation, a great genealogy. Your name will be great. I will give you blessing. I will protect you from everything you go through. If some people are against you, I am with you. Don't worry. And I bless you and your lineage. So, as we said also before, also Abraham had some condition to fulfill. So he had to cut some kind of animals, because they were farmers at that time. They had cattle and livestock as well. So what does it mean to cut the animals? So the animals were cut in a half, and basically the right side was to be put on top on the left side. Basically the right side was God, and the left side was Satan. So this process of restoration means God winning over Satan. It was a condition that Abraham had to prepare and fulfill if you want to stay on the side of goodness or on the side of evil. So basically also the animals were the doves, the sheep, and a goat, and a heifer. So Abraham completed with the heifer, and the sheep, and a goat. But then he thought, okay, I will do the birds later. They are easy to do. And then he fell asleep. And then other birds, they came, prey, and they took the doves. So this means also that Satan's invasion over the offering. So this could not be offered anymore to God. This was a presentation of the different stages: formation, growth, and completion. Of course, if you don't have the formation stage, you cannot go to the growth and to completion stage as well. So all the foundation that he did was lost and could not be accepted, was incomplete. So because of this mistake, God told Abraham, your descendants will be enslaved and mistreated 400 years. So in the Abraham descendants also will suffer for 400 years under the Egyptian empire because of this mistake. So we can see how much important is also to fulfill our portion of responsibility as well. And also talking about the foundation of substance. Yeah, okay. And also because of the successful foundation offered by Abel when he offered on the altar, and also Noah, which completed the foundation of faith, not the foundation of substance, but still he completed the foundation of faith. And also he came as the third generation of restoration. God gave him another chance, another possibility, standing on Abel's and Noah's foundation. Okay, we have another direction here, another condition to make, which of greater indemnity. Take your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and sacrifice him as a burnt offering. So basically, also Abraham was quite old. He had Isaac, he had Ismail from a concubine. So basically, also Isaac, let's say, was a precious son to continue his lineage. And you can imagine how thoughtful maybe Abraham was before sacrificing his son, Isaac. We know that they walked through Mount Moriah to offer Isaac, and he was like a teenager at that time. He understood there was not any sheep, any offer to make, and he understood that he was the offering. He could escape from that, but he did not, because he trusted completely his father Abraham. And okay, you do what you have to do. And while Abraham was about to offer Isaac, an angel came and he said, stop it, Abraham, because I know you fear the Lord and you trust him. So this was a proof that Abraham had to fulfill in order to complete this foundation. Do not lay your hand on the lad or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not waited your son, your only son, for me. So he didn't save your son for me, but he wanted to really offer it. So until the last moment, because Abraham was feeling he repented of the past mistake, because in this way he wanted to restore and coming back to the previous position. God accepted this offer. So finally, this unity could start with Abraham and Isaac through the absolute unity and filial, son and father together to complete absolute loyalty and respect with each other, centered on God. So we see also another level of a foundation had to be established as well, with the two on the wife's side as well, because Abraham with Sarah and Isaac, with Agar, a concubine, had Ismail, which then developed with the Arab nation. But because Sarah didn't want Agar to be together with them, and maybe she feared that Abraham loved more Ismail or Isaac. And then he pushed Abraham to send Agar away, Ismail as well. They are both children of the same father, so they are brothers, step brothers. And also basically also this condition had to be restored in some way. So that's why also we have also through generation this conflict between Arabs and Jews as well, and they are brothers. And then little by little also this condition had to be made to restore the past deeds in history as well. So from we can see from Isaac and Rebecca, we have two sons. We have Esau and Jacob. So Esau was on the firstborn child on Cain's side, and Jacob on Abel's side. They already start fighting on the womb, as Genesis said. So also here we can see an interesting things, because also the position also of Jacob was to restore the elder sonship, because Esau was the first son, was let's say relatively on Satan's side, elder brother in position of Cain, the archangel, and the other was a younger brother in a position of Abel, in a position of Adam. Still had to complete this process of restoration. So also because there is this event where the Jacob also wins the birthright from Esau, because Esau was a hunter, and he could come back home starving, and then asking Jacob, can you make lunch for me, please? And he made a soup with lentils, and he said, okay, if I prepare something for you, can you give me your birthright? He said, okay, whatever. And then okay, and then Jacob also deceived his father Isaac, who was old, and put the sheep tail on him, because Esau was a very hairy man. Also, when Isaac could touch, are you Esau? Yes, I'm Esau. And then, okay, I will give my blessing to you. You are my first son, because at that time also the first son was the one who continues the lineage. And then he received this birthright also from Isaac. But then when Esau discovered this fact, he went crazy. How can you do something like this? And then basically Jacob had to run away, had to escape, and went to his father, his mother's his uncle, in Haran for 21 years. And he worked very hard under Laban. He was tricked many times, but at the end, basically, he gains a lot of wealth. He gains a lot of sheep, ram, and goats. He comes back with wives, and then finally he overcomes also on the guard of Jabok. He fights with the angel, also winning over the spiritual world, fighting properly in a concrete way. And also Jacob gets injured by that, but he wins. And then what happened? That after 21 years, also Jacob comes back to his father's place, from his birthplace, and then Esau is preparing to killing him, because he remembered that he stole his birthright, and then he prepared 400 men to kill him. But actually, also Jacob offered everything. Okay, starting from the cattle, from the children, from the wife. Everything I did this until this moment for 21 years is all for you, my brother. And then also Esau's heart is moved, and is changing his attitude. And yes, we can see they also Jacob offer his gifts, and before meeting with Esau, he bows on the ground 7 times. And then he sent his cattle, his maize, his wife, his children, and everything. Okay. And then when they meet, Jacob pronounced this sentence: "When I see you, I see the face of God." And finally, Esau embraced Jacob and they wept together. So we can see also this change of heart. They finally, because Esau wanted to kill Abel, and then looking all this foundation that Jacob made, and then through this unity, really melted Esau's heart as well. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. So finally, this unity, this relationship of Cain and Abel could be restored, where there is humility on Abel's side and acceptance on the Cain side. Finally. So yes, finally, at the third attempt, after the third generation in Abraham's family, we completed also the foundation of substance on the family level. And then Jacob's received the name Israel, which means victorious. And then that's why we say, "I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob," because even though they are 3 different people, they are looked as one person, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as one lineage. So finally, also the condition for the coming of the Messiah has been made, and all the restoration of humankind is gonna take place through this lineage as well. So through this Jacob's victory, we have this condition on individual, victory on individual, on the family level, okay? Family level. While if you look on the Satan, they built, Satan's foundation that was built, they had already a tribe, a society, or even a nation centered on evil, centered on Satan. The Egyptian, Assyrians, empires who didn't know God, they had idolatry, also the sort of different traditions as well. So of course, these are more condition preparation to be made as well. That we also go deeper in other lecture as well. This is just for the let's say introducing the argument. So what we can learn from Abraham's family. So when the central figure, the central family of the providence, if they fail to fulfill the responsibility, they need to pay a greater condition of indemnity, of restoration. So also inside ourselves, we need to separate the good and the evil, living a life of prayer, life of sacrifice, and understand what is God's will for us, because there is always a plan also that God prepared everything for us. So for the character, Abel must serve unconditionally Cain. So that's why also Jacob was very successful in winning Esau's heart. So we need to win Cain's heart as well, that Cain must surrender voluntarily through the love of Abel. So in this way that we can practice in our daily life, we can see also in history how many mistakes had been made. They didn't know all the process of restoration, but they still had to walk through all these different steps that God prepared for them and fulfill their portion of responsibility. So I hope we can do our portion of responsibility as well in our life, understand this principle and practice in our life, in our family, and really bring joy, satisfaction, and happiness to God finally. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great continuation for the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gukson. Wow, that's a long history of restoration. So thank you for guiding us through it. Yeah, so that was the last talk of the 2-day Divine Principle workshop. So I hope you managed to gain a lot from all three talks and all three speakers. So we'll give one more round of applause to everyone who spoke over the past 2 days. And before we finish up, we're going to make some announcements. So those are going to come up on the screen. And yeah, and actually, sorry, before the announcements, we're going to have an opportunity to ask some questions. So yeah, thank you, Gukson, for agreeing to answer some questions. And sorry, those are going to be brought up on the screen first, I believe, and sent to me. And I'm going to ask the questions. Okay, so the first question is, what does it mean practically to seek able-type people and honor and follow them?
Basically, also, in order to create unity as well, for example, a structure, I need to find my able figure, which is can be above me or equal as me, but that means that this person is closer to God. For example, in this way, that his guidance or his desire, that I need to be first united with this will, and then try to accomplish together, and then the real unity as a team can be established. For example, let's say you have a team. Team we are usually you have a team leader, no, a team member for running a project, for example, no? And then the team leader is going in a certain direction to fulfill some task, and ask to do some activities. Maybe you don't know why, but still you need to be able to unite and understand what's behind that word, because maybe he already thought he has a bigger picture in mind. And that's why that through this unity, then all the team can work together. So this also means able Cain type unity can be applied in our daily life.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a really good explanation, because people can often find it hard to relate to Cain and Abel in the Bible and think, okay, well, he's able, but who's who's able in my life? Who's a able figure for me? So yeah, thank you for that explanation. Our next question is, restoration looks like a massive responsibility. What can I do as an individual to help achieve restoration?
Yeah, basically there are different levels of restoration. We will start with the individual restoration. So we need to start within ourselves first to clean our mind and thoughts, which way we want to follow. You know, the slide that we show at the beginning, the good way or the bad way, because we have freedom, we have responsibility, and we take responsibility for what we chose. So in this way, if we build a family, if we build a neighborhood centered on goodness, for example, we live for the sake of others, we create a nice atmosphere, we invite the people home, or we respond when they have some needs. So in this way, we can create a positive atmosphere as well. It can restore also our family, our tribe, and really to complete this process of restoration centered on God. So this is also seems small, but still our responsibility is very crucial. It's very important, because all the small drop of water that finally you have an ocean at the end. So even the small things in our life, we can accomplish great things together. So imagine that all people on the earth are living for the sake of others, not don't throwing rubbish or on the floor, and then everything will be cleaned, you know. So it's a process, of course, yeah, because human being has a responsibility. So this is the fact.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's important to not get lost in the idea of restoration and think, oh, that's such a grand responsibility, and what can I do as an individual? But to understand that if every individual takes responsibility, then the whole world will be taken care of, and obviously that increases in levels, like you said. And so our last question for today is, was there a way for Jacob to win the birthright without cheating? It's quite an interesting question. But yeah, what's
You
your take
see,
on
that's
that?
interesting. Let's say that also, Jacob won the birthright. But also the way he did it was not so, let's call heavily way, So that's why also Esau got angry at him because he stole his birthright. The way to win without cheating is always to serve and love your enemies, and always love your gain position or your brother and sister in this case, to really really without expecting anything. Okay, I serve you day night, day and night, day and night, day and night. I don't ask for anything. And then one day, maybe if this person think I'm really good, I'm really able, I'm really capable, and then one day he can give for granted the birthright. He recognized what Abel had been through throughout all these years. So this is a natural surrender process. So without you asking, basically is given to you. But of course, require time and many years of investment. But this is the right heart, the right attitude, I think.
Yeah, I think when we hear that story, it does sound a bit strange. Obviously, it doesn't sound like the ideal way to get the birthright, but it needed to be done in some way, and so it was better that it could be achieved even under uh, circumstances which are a bit a bit iffy. But yeah, obviously, a natural surrender would have been preferable. But yeah, thank you for answering all those questions. And yeah, thank you once again for the talk. So now it's time to move on to the announcements. So those will be coming up on the screen. I know I mentioned them earlier, but yeah, it was important to do the Q&A first. So here they are. And these announcements are really important. So make sure you're listening carefully. So first of all, we have a 15-day Divine Principle workshop. So obviously we just had a 2-day, well, we're coming to the end of a 2-day Divine Principle workshop. And so we could look at the Divine Principle, but we didn't have enough time to really explore all the content. We could get a good oversight and a general understanding of the Divine Principle. But if you've been, if you're interested in this content and you've really felt that you want to explore it further, this 15-day Divine Principle workshop will be taking place in person. So not over Zoom like this workshop, but it will be taking place in person in Gafflens in Austria. So yeah, it'll be from the 9th of July to the 23rd of July. And it's an opportunity to discover the whole Divine Principle together with experienced lecturers. You can find a space to ask questions and discuss the content in small groups. Meet people from all over Europe and the Middle East, like we've been able to do over Zoom, and also, of course, with participants from the United States and Africa. And that's been really great. It's been nice to see people from all over the world participating. And of course, an opportunity to have fun with games and activities. So yeah, this workshop, maybe it sounds really good, maybe it sounds too good to be true, and actually it is filling up very quickly. So if you're interested and if you're able to make it, then please send an email to this pmasner at gmail.com, and if the workshop is not full, then we'll get you on that workshop. So yeah, I hope that many of you can make it, and yeah, we can move on to our next announcement. So yeah, also, if you've really enjoyed these sessions over Zoom, you'll be pleased to know that we hold other sessions, and normally every 2 Tuesdays, with this same CARP team that helped to organize this 2-day workshop. So these talks take place at 8 o'clock Central European time. I can see that some people on this call have been joining us already, so that's great to see. And the talk this Tuesday will be given, well, the topic will be, what is our value as human beings? So yeah, we were just looking at human restoration and why that's important. And this talk will be looking at our value as human beings. So if that sounds interesting, please attend. I think the link will be sent out, and you can find details on Facebook or Instagram by following the CARP page. But yeah, I hope to see many of your faces there on Tuesday. That may be our last announcement. I think that's the last one. Yeah, and as you can see in the chat, the email for the CARP talk will be sent by email. So yeah, please keep an eye out in your emails. Maybe it will go to the spam area, but please try to find it, and yeah, use the link to join us on Tuesday. So yeah, I will conclude here by saying thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see all of you soon on Tuesday or for the next event that we're running, and maybe on the 15-day workshop in Austria if you decide to participate. So yeah, thank you once again, everyone, and yeah, hopefully see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please register for the workshop.
Very much. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Here in Austria.
Thank you.
See you on Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Gukson.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great lecture. Bye.
All the best. Thank you.
Bonsoir.
Bye, Nigeria. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We appreciate. This is a balanced group. Bye.